Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the TrueLife podcast. You know what? I know I told you that I had one amazing individual today, but I like to underpromise and overdeliver. So I brought you three amazing gentlemen that are going to get into some ideas about the world in which we live that share a very common foundation on which we can build a better future. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, let me just start off by introducing. I'll let you guys introduce yourselves. Please, let's tell the audience who you are.
Let's start with Tian.
Yeah. Hello, my name is Tian. Who am I? Who am I, dude? Yeah, I'm me. I'm this energy you can see right now, dude. That's me.
That's right.
Yeah. Found myself through the use of psychedelics. So yeah.
Yeah. I met Tian through psychedelics.
Yeah.
Literally. We have this group
great.
where a lot of like-minded people are meeting, and so these magical things happen. My name is Tor, and I'm a psychonaut in learning, I guess, trying to figure out what these things are.
Yeah.
With like-minded soul that makes that happen.
My name is Marius, 33 years old. I'm an energizing searcher. So when I took the psychedelics for the first time, I only tried 3 times, but I felt the energy of love, real love, and the contact.
Yeah.
And how to be yourself, and meet your fears, It's like adventure that's never gonna end. So I'm just vibrating right now. I'm just
One frequency at a time.
Yeah.
So
It's interesting. When you talk, that's interesting that you use the word frequency, Tor. Like, what is your idea of frequency? And I know we're surrounded by different frequencies, and maybe our brain is almost like a receiver, just getting these different frequencies and then translating them. But let's talk about, before we get into this idea of frequencies, why don't you give people an overview of what it is that you do?
Oh, damn.
You can take that anywhere you want to, man.
Actually, I love Simon Sinek says this perfectly.
Okay.
I love to inspire people to do something that inspires them because I get inspired.
Wow. It's well put. That is well put. Have you found there is a certain way to do that? Like when you communicate with people, whether it's in business, whether it's a relationship with your lovely other, or whether it's a kid or a friend, is there like a certain recipe that you use to really communicate with somebody?
You want to know about Ehsalese?
Yeah.
He knows.
I've written. I may understand the concept, but I wrote that word down because I don't know the definition of it. I maybe instinctually, I could feel it or something. But what is Ehsalese? What does that mean to you?
Okay, so this is gonna be good.
Yeah, so stoked.
Oh my god!
Me and a friend of mine, we were having this conversation. We have a lot of fantastic conversations. This time we were experiencing this high, this vibration that was so far up from where we used to be. So it was like, what do we call this? Because we were vibing, we were connecting.
Right.
And he connected to me through poetry that he wrote.
Beautiful.
And he redefined how I see poetry and creativity. And that opened some doors that led to another feeling that we never had before. And then he said, what is this? It was a feeling. And in Hindi, feeling means esas. In Norwegian, it's følelse, together, Ehsalese. Yeah, they're separately simple. But it's basically when you feel like your soul is getting plucked, a string on your soul is getting plucked, and you just vibrate in that feeling. You know that you're doing something so ultimately, authentically right that you just get pulled towards your future. And you're vibrating on that level, attracting more energy of that same nature, just creating things as you go. And then as you do this, you're just going to raise the vibration of everyone around you because the tide raises all boats, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you feel when that's right. So I guess Ehsalese is that emotion.
Yeah.
But it also gives you this tool that if you know that you're out of sync, if you do something that you hate, If you're working 11 hours in a scrubbing kitchen because you need a job, and you still don't see that you need to make that decision towards what feels right, feels, not thinks, right? Then you're just going to end up in Ehsalese, which is just constant flow toward ultimate truth in limitless love.
Wow, that is beautiful, man. And you know what I like about that? You said all of a sudden you started finding yourself on this level when you started thinking about poetry. And I think about poetry, I think about language. And when I think about real communication, like some of us get to experience it. And probably all of us have spoken to a beautiful young woman and seen her blush. Or maybe one of you, I know I've had a woman speak to me and I get goosebumps and I start to blush. And like, that to me is real communication, whether it's through your daughter, a beautiful woman, a beautiful man, or someone you love. When you speak to somebody and your skin shows it, whether you're blushing or you get goosebumps, like that's real communication. And that's where poetry seems to lead us. And like, it's so amazing that all of a sudden you find this new terminology, this new feeling, this new essence. When you're talking about poetry, it's like the words we use have so much power that in today's world have been drained from us. The emotion has been taken out. The love has been taken out. When I talk to you guys, I can feel it, man. When you talk about this, am I saying it right? Ehsalese, is that the right way to say it?
Yeah.
I'm going to start using that. That's beautiful, man. Thanks for bringing that concept up.
Thank you. This just proves the point. It is actually proof of concept because everyone who hears this knows what it is. You can't teach Ehsalese. You need to feel it and then remember how that felt in order to differentiate it. Like, what is fear? What is death? If not one thing that we have learned, and then we have to kind of redefine what those things mean.
Man, you guys are blowing my mind. Like, I really feel right now, like there is the same way. Like if you watch mycelium or the fungus grow, like it's growing together and building this network before it begins to fruit. And I feel like the people we're meeting, like it's not a coincidence that we're coming together. It's like we're being brought together, right? Like this is something that's happening organically. And when you start defining new languages, go ahead. What was that, Marcel?
It's building a tribe. Yeah. Like a tribe, like a people who
basically connecting dots.
Connecting.
Our energy is recovering each other.
With those frequencies, you know.
Wow. Strengthening the field. And you know what? We have an idea because we have been on an adventure. Right now we're in a hotel room, all right? No, not even a hotel room. We were given the conference room. I have this backpack with the computer in my car, and we're actually heading to a retreat to kind of really focus on this energy. We have international support from Croatia with energy protectors. Like we have been open-minded, like fuck.
Whoa!
So, right now, so many things are happening, and we figured it's going to be an adventure. So we came to this town to wait for the last member, the fourth person. So we've been just waiting. This has been the adventure so far. We figured we wanted to ice bathe. We wanted to go actually to swim after we had amazing food, like amazing salad and stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, because
we get these energy waves that we get this feeling of it, that this all is a meaning of it. There's a meaning and it's all right. And
we've just been going from frequency to frequency to frequency. Every one of us has just been, whoa, what the fuck was that? Right? That was the shift. That was Ehsalese. Yeah. And so we went over to the docks and we wanted to go ice bathing, right?
Yeah.
So we go through the city with the towel and just our undies, right? Come to this place after walking for quite a distance. There's a dude coming out of the water, just waving hello. And we were like, hey! We go there, we get undressed, we go up to the field and we do these Wim Hof movements. It's just making all of the energy we can.
Yeah.
And we jumped in the ocean.
We jumped in the ocean and go back up again, and we did some exercises, some more exercises, and went in some meditation form and did some breathing exercises, and we felt this contact that exploded after this exercise. So we just float on the skies after that.
We were dripping wet in our boxers in November, and people were standing around us, hands in pocket, tap on head, just what the fuck? We were sitting like 20 minutes. 20 minutes afterwards, we come out, hands burning, not even feeling cold, being in some sort of a new frequency. And then the guy asked us, what is the secret?
Yeah. He was just staring at us as we were some aliens or something. It was really
We were
awesome.
weird. And also we were doing these really good exercises. Like what? We go like this. Woo! And burning like that. 3 people, as loud as we could, with people around us, just like, what the fuck is this Moana shit?
You know, that's quantum flow exercise. So,
That's quantum flow exercises.
quantum flow is pretty new to me, but it's a combination of inhaling exercises and yoga, and this fantasizing of this red line. You should visualize that's a red line going down to the earth to get contact with Mother Earth, and a red line that goes up to the universe, so you get full contact. We're going to visualize this, and with this breathing exercise and inhalations, you get pretty dizzy, so it's pretty easy to feel, you know. And it's a lot of ways to get contact with the universe. So I'm trying a little bit different types of exercises, and I and I use the exercises that feels good for me, and I try to mix it up a little bit, and we try different things. So this one was really good. So this time was really good.
I like that. I like that idea of visualization, and I've never heard of visualizing a red line to the skies and to the ground. But you know what? Just as soon as you said it, I can't stop visualizing about it. You know what I mean? Like now I'm like, yeah, I could totally see
I
that.
haven't told them yet because we haven't done it yet. We're going to do it tomorrow, so we're going to.
Spoiler alert!
Spoiler! Hey,
we're going to get soul contact tomorrow. I'm going to fly.
Yeah, it's so
pretty
exciting.
Cool. It's pretty cool that there's so many different ways to come to have contact with this energy. So if you can combine, you know, some of the good exercises, we can do amazing things, because in my world, there's no book.
He has literally not read a book yet. So
I've never read a book in my life, man.
He's just been on the flow.
Man, see, so that brings me this idea too of knowledge. Like so many people in all of our societies, whether you're in Norway or whether you're in Azerbaijan or in Hawaii, we have come across this idea for centuries where like you have to go someplace to learn something. You have to go learn from these other people. And increasingly in today's world, the people that are teaching, they no longer have the experience. They're a person who knew a guy who had a friend whose dad's mom's cousin did the experience. You know what I mean? And so I had this idea on a recent, just really high dose psilocybin trip that, you know what? You don't learn from other people. And like knowledge isn't something you learn. It's something that's revealed to you. You know, like knowledge is revealed to you. You can see it in a tree. You can see it in your cat. You can see it in the person next to you. You can learn things that you don't have to go talk to. You don't have to go to pay a bunch of money to some guy. Like just be quiet and listen to what the world is telling you, and the knowledge will be revealed to you. What do you think? Is that crazy or what?
No, that's spot on. That was beautiful, George.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Perfect.
I actually want to say something because
Please.
I had this difficult period of time where I have this like current, this salt water current where I live. I was like, oh shit! I feel like going down to the water and ask for the power of the current, to have that resilient in what I do. And then a message came to me like, it's what I heard was like, it's in the stillness of the current where you will find your strength.
Wow, that is beautiful, man.
Yeah.
What? So tell me more about that. What? If you don't mind sharing, like, what was the difficult time you were going through, and what did you learn in the stillness of the current?
Yeah, well, the difficult time I was going through was something with my family, like because my father is like a narcissist and not a good father, and I experienced that. I felt like I should do something about it, so I called the Child Protective Services and started a collaboration with them. And that was like it was tough, dude. But and what I realized was like in all of this like madness and all of the all of the good stuff also, like all the energies which is happening through my life now is so amazing, a lot of stuff, dude. But I realized that if I really find my strength, I need to take a step back and relax and meditate and like take breaks for myself, right? To recover my strength.
Yeah.
Feel,
You have to
don't
find your
feel.
own stillness. That's beautiful, man.
Perfect.
How did you get there though? Like, how did you decide that did you hear something calling to you, or was it like a voice in your head, or like how did you figure out like I need to get to this spot? Like, how did that come about?
Well, I felt it, dude. I felt like, well, I feel like the current is so strong, like it can't be stopped by anything, and I would really love that strength in what I do. So I guess that was like the thought. How was it, like thought and then feeling, or feeling then thought?
Now you're asking those questions.
Yeah, yeah.
Feel, don't think.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. And then I just felt like going down there, and I felt like the current, the ocean has a soul. So I felt like, yeah.
Well, let me ask you this. Was it rewarding for you to know that you came up with the answers to a problem that was difficult, that was challenging to you? And like, you didn't, while you could go to anybody, you could go ask a mentor, you could go find something. How did you feel about figuring it out for yourself? And doesn't that just allow you to know that that's your truth and that's the solution for you? And it's a solution that no one had to tell you. It's a solution that you came up with. That's pretty empowering, right?
Yeah, dude, it's great, dude. Yeah, when you said like, yeah, dude, fuck yeah, dude. I'm fine with that. Yeah.
But there is one significant thing in that: the tribe.
Yeah, dude. I've luckily I have my tribe to lean on.
Right?
It's so great. It really has helped me to push through those difficult conversations and all those difficult choices in my life. I knew that I was not alone after I did my choices. Like, I think that helped a lot for me. That I can be open and talk about my experiences with my friends, to be totally open and to have that tribe. It's amazing. It's like having more of you to sort of collaborate with, because you met yourself in other people, and it's so beautiful. Like, they've lived their life with their experiences such as I, and we have like different things to help each other with, and it's so beautiful when it comes together to that problem.
And Einstein did say you can't solve a problem from the same mind that created it.
Wow. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Wait, you got to break that. Say that again, Tor. I want to hear that. Get into that for me.
You can't solve the problem with the same thoughts pattern and thoughts and actions that you made from the mind that actually created the problem. You need to have more reflections. You need to have people to spar with, to get new ideas, new perspectives on things, so that you understand different concepts, putting those together. Warren Buffett says that knowledge is cumulative.
Cumulative, I think.
Cumulative. That's my. So when you learn more things about something, you might actually strengthen your understanding of something else. And I guess when you build that bridge and you see everything as one, that's it.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I was talking with a friend of mine, and you know what's amazing? Like, I feel like we've known each other for a long time. Talking to you three guys, man. Thank you for this.
Yeah.
You know, like,
you're right away.
Yeah.
and I was having a similar discussion. Yeah, it is. It is. We're on the same frequency. We're on the same level. I think it's Ehsalese. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was talking with a friend of mine, and we were discussing about meditating and thinking about things. And he had mentioned to me, sometimes like I'll be meditating and it's like you try to quiet your mind and you start thinking about this thing, but then another thought pops in and, I'm trying to solve this problem, but then my mind just starts shifting gears on me. And I had told him, you know what? I had a similar issue. And the way that I began thinking about it, the way that it was kind of revealed to me is like this, when you're trying to focus on something and then all of a sudden this new idea pops in that shifts gears, like that's not a disturbance. Like that is the next thought that leads to the answer, even though it may seem irrelevant, even though it may seem like it's not related at all. Like that's the next thought that's going to lead you to the answer. And like when you start thinking like that, like, oh, it's not a distraction. This is a clue. This is the next step in the journey right there. And that's changed my life a little bit in the last probably month. I'm like, it's not a distraction. This is the next thought that leads to the next thing that's going to reveal the answer to me. And like when Tian was talking about going into the still water, like I felt the connection there. I'm like, this is exactly it. It's not a distraction. This is how it's supposed to be. And it just, it's amazing to think about. So when you said, I guess the next step for my thought process, Tor, was you had mentioned that you can't solve a problem with the mind that created it. This leads me to believe you have a very interesting way in which you look at the people around you. Would you mind sharing how you see those around you, or maybe getting into this idea of what the tribe means to you?
Oh my God. That's why we had to come up with a new word for it. That's a lesson.
That's a lesson.
We had to simplify it. It's we were talking about this actually. Most people love to talk about things as if, like, I'm going to tell you how to do something because my way is the way. But we were talking, and then when you're trying to help people, you basically just listen, right? So I like to listen to people on the deepest of levels, because just the things that this guy went through and this guy went through, it makes you think, right? It makes you think, holy shit, if you can do that, then what is stopping you from doing that? You're talking like this, so you're just keeping yourself from that. Just pointing out those things that really reveals that we are the same person, right? We vibrate on the exact same level. And when that happens in tribe, where you have more people than just one, and the energy grows, right? We were talking about this thing, because when we were ice bathing earlier, we came up, we were in the water for 6 minutes, came up, sat down, meditated for 20 minutes, and people had been seeing this, right? What is the secret? So it was the thing that he needed. We were just saying, in a year, or we haven't decided if it's a month or a year, we're going to have 400 people doing the same exercise, creating that energy, and just see what the heck happens.
See, they felt the energy, man.
Yeah.
So
that's what tribe means to me.
Something bigger, something really big.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's the resonance between a group of people.
And it almost sounds like you're using tribe as a verb. Like it's like an action word. It's like something that has a positive and negative charge. And the way you guys were explaining it, it sounds almost as if it was, I think what the right word might be, but like, I can't think of it. It's when you catch guys, on the tip of my tongue, when you catch a cold, you can give something to somebody. It becomes, it'll come. Yes, thank you. Contagious. That's exactly. Yeah. Well, you guys seem to be putting off a vibe that is contagious. That's pulling people towards it, and it's an energy, right? Like it's something you're tapping into to do that. Like you already said, the guy was like, "What's the secret?" That's curiosity in its form, right? Coming towards you guys.
Yeah, I mean, when you're sitting there, nude almost, and you're like packed up and just cozy, and you're like, "I'm kind of cold. How are they doing that?" Right? Then there's a journey itself, just being on that level, because that is not something that most people do, right? Right. Sitting there being warm in cold weather after being in the ice bath. So for us, it's learning just as much as everyone else around us, because I've never experienced that before. And this weekend is basically based on that, to explore the freaking frontier, because as I said, we're going to open a freaking portal.
Yeah.
Have you felt the energy in your hands? Warm?
Yeah, I can feel them tingling,
and tingling,
yeah, absolutely. Like I do that meditation sometimes where like I'll just lay down and then I will concentrate and try to feel my heartbeat through my body, right? Like you can feel it in your fingertips if you concentrate, and you can move it, you can isolate it. Like you can move it all the way up and you can move it all the way down, move it all the way through your legs, but it takes a while to get there. Like you have to lay there for a little bit, and maybe sometimes I'll start with just my hand on my heart so I can get it's like a drum beat. You could feel the rhythm in your body the same way you could feel it in a hall that's just bass flowing through you, and it gets me thinking about that. But I want to go back to this idea of being cold and hot. When you said cold and you made this move like this, like that's the idea. When people are cold, they're bundled up. In the same way, like they're not in a position to share. When you're hot, your arms are out. When you're warm, you're radiating heat, right? Maybe that's this idea of radiating the tribe, is when you're hot like that, you have warmth to give when you're hot. When you're cold, you're selfish, you're isolated, you're pulled in, and you're not in a state to receive anything. It's kind of interesting to think about the language there.
Yeah.
I wonder what. Yeah, please.
Well, I made a video actually a few days ago, the journey of a thought that goes into this, like how it, like I see life through frequencies. And if love is the highest frequency and hate is the lowest, then just being as high as you can makes things a lot easier, basically.
Yeah, to live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel like the really good feeling, like the energy which I have now is sort of like the universe is sort of giving me it so that I keep on doing this beautiful stuff, man. It's like a reward from the universe. Like I'm doing the right thing, yeah.
Even though it's hard, like fucking hard. Brofist, by the way.
Oh yes,
He did. He's been amazing.
yeah. I have.
Which day is it today?
It's day. I think day 46 actually.
46.
46.
100-day challenge. Yeah.
Yeah. Basically
What-
a 100-day challenge where you next level shit.
Yeah, dude. I started making videos, like fucking open up the like fucking everything, dude, and like being able to talk about my traumas and being able to share them with the tribe, which has given me like a whole another way of seeing things because we can talk together and like stuff I thought was like taboo or like real fucked. Yeah, it was like we come together and talk, and I sort of opened up understandings of like, okay, but like in the situation, it probably wasn't really strange. Dude. Like, I do not blame myself for what I've done. It's not who I am, man. I am not my experiences. I'm what I choose to do with it, you know. So
Yeah.
100-day challenge. It's really good, dude.
Yeah.
Amazing, man.
That's,
When you-
it's right.
What, Marius, have you gone through the 100-day challenge?
I just started, so
They're my beta testers, basically.
yeah.
Nice.
I just started. Have been some 5 videos or something.
Great.
So you can I have feeling of the fear of, because when I was a child, when I did some wrong things or did things right, I was locked in the room, for hours. So I felt this a little bit of fear because you're gonna meet your fears,
Yeah.
Then you get a lot of fear sometimes. So I had 1 week now that I haven't sent no videos. So I basically locked myself in the room, like my parents like
Right.
they did. So it's insane because I want to do it. So I've been ice bathing for every day. So I've been starting doing things, and psychedelica is pretty new to me. So for 1 week ago, I tried 1 gram, and I felt this love. And the week after, I felt this to do. Everyone have to-do list, and that list is just when we're not in ourselves, it's so big, and I felt this was just like this small. Psychedelics make me go to the fear and not fear it, So it's pretty awesome how this works. So
That is awesome how it works, man. That's super. That stokes me to hear. Do you feel like
go back in life and take the trauma and rebuild it to your strength is
Legacy forging.
Yes, dude.
So
That's
it can
what
help.
it is, man. Yes,
Yeah.
that's what it is. I mean, that's why I went through my trauma, because, dude, I'm gonna make a change with my experiences from my trauma, dude. That's actually why I didn't kill myself, dude, because I felt I could do more with my experiences,
Yeah, like you're here for a reason, man. Like,
Oh.
and you know what's crazy to me? Like, I've seen people closest to me. I've sat on the bed with them while they're at the hospital because they attempted suicide, and and all of us have probably had people in our lives that we lost, that wasn't fair, that we loved, right? And it's those traumas. Like, something happens to you when you come face to face with a trauma like that, especially if it's your own life or someone close enough to you where it's still your own life. Something happens at that point in time where something inside you changes, and it's unfortunate, but something inside you dies. A big part of who you are dies, but it's necessary. That part must die so that you can be reborn, because it may take a year, it may take 10 years, it may take 20, but there's going to be something that grows in that hole that was ripped from you that's more beautiful than you could possibly understand.
Yeah.
It's going to show, it's going to create the individual that is Tian, that is Marius, that is Tor, that is George. Like, there's a new part of us that's growing. And when you deny that part, that's when the real death happens. That's when the spiritual death happens. When you deny this growth inside of you, man, like, forget about it. Like, every one of you must have had a horrible trauma happen to you, but that's why you're beautiful now, man.
Man. What my experience of this is that you take the trauma and you meet the fear, and you get the twice of love of the trauma that you didn't get.
That's a.
I don't know how to explain it, but
Wait, say that again. Can you say that again?
It was a little bit difficult to explain, but you
I
get
think I know how to do it.
Can you explain it for me? Yeah, you can do it.
It's like when they say that the hardest climb has the most beautiful view, right?
Yes.
Because when you actually confront something and you work towards fixing it, you're going to do something that is really fucking painful sometimes. You have to do something that really shakes the core. And when you go through that, you're seeing different things on the other side, meaning that you have the love from what you actually did, but also the actual work that got you there. We talked about this earlier. Like, if you give a poor person $200 million, what's going to happen to that person?
They're going to kill
When he
themselves.
does not know how to
ruin their life.
Make new money, he's going to be worse off.
Yeah.
Because if you go from one frequency like that, just fucking up there, then you're going to crash way back there if you don't really build yourself the understanding of how to go to the next level. You need to be ready, man. Feel called and do the crazy backflip or whatever it is. Yeah. Kill the dragon with the tweezers.
Yeah.
Do you think, Tor, that the 100-day challenge is a way of ascending that mountain in a way that is sustainable?
Yeah.
Yes, dude.
Yeah.
For sure.
So he knows because he's the first one who had consistently done all the days, right?
Right.
When I did it, I didn't know where it was going to lead me. I started because I wanted a different life. So first of all, I was alone, and it took about 10 years. So going through all that is why we figured out the power of tribe. If you have people to resonate with.
Yeah.
But going through that the first time, I just wanted a different change. I wanted money because I had a fiance who was not a Norwegian citizen, fearing to get tossed out of the country. So I needed money to stay alive, basically. And then we got a daughter, and we had a perfect life. I was actually creating money from my stuff. I had gone through the government saying, fuck off, I don't want you in municipal prison.
Yeah.
And so, but that was a long and painful and hard journey, right? So a year into my daughter's life, she was deported. And that in the channel or in the challenge, what was it? Day 43?
At least at 41. Like.
Yeah. So he saw that the day of that news, the day I got the news that my daughter was going to be deported, I shared that to the camera and to the world on YouTube, right? And I did that for 100 consecutive days. And on day 70 something, my family was deported. And I recorded that event and the feelings that I had in that trauma. Not knowing if or when I was ever going to see my daughter again. Knowing that right now, one of my parts just died, like a freaking candlelight in a fart. And I crushed. I fell down in the airport, not knowing what to do now. And then I died. Literally got a flash of life ahead of me, or just seeing something different. What I had to do, it was like the universe just get the fuck up, right? Just take some accountability, know that I wanted to make them come back, work out a plan to do that, to make that happen. And I said in that video, day 70 something, that now the job starts. It's now it begins. I'm going to create this. After that, I didn't see the power of what happened through the 100-day challenge because I didn't see it as the tool. It was just a way for me to journal, just to get my thoughts out there. Almost like a tribe does, because you're going to learn it twice. If you teach it, you're going to learn that thing twice, see it from different levels.
Yeah.
And now we have this theory then. We're still trying to build out the concept. Like 100 days, you can have 10 tasks or whatever goals you need to go through, divided by the 100 days. You're going to do those hard things with the accountability of the tribe, making sure that you do it. And you have agreed to it, which means that if you don't, you're going to feel physically ill. Like, fuck, I didn't do it. And then you're just getting pushed to do it.
Yeah.
like group pressure.
Yeah, in
In a good way.
Yeah. And then, then after the 100-day challenge has been met, like after you're done, it's going to be a habit to just talk about things. You're going to have a way better way of communicating with people because all of a sudden talking in public is no problem. And you're going to meet a lot of different people because you putting that out into the universe so that it can bring it back to you. And you're just learning as you go. It just never stops. It starts a journey for yourself of self-discovery. So if that journey is customized, like we know, if I show you the Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, something, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, just shedding those seeds that you know is going to impact them, and then just continue to do that through 100 days. Dude, this is day 46 something, and we're now met for the first time ever live today. Yeah. I picked him up on the airport earlier. We were waiting for the fourth member, and we're going to go out to a retreat that we're just going to create.
Yeah. Oh. Dude,
yeah, it's still kind of.
She was going to happen. Yeah. I feel like it's like, whoa, I felt it like I've already started the trip. Like I have this like, so, yeah.
There's been so many ascension points during this night that is insane.
It's hard to explain, but it was like
Ehsalese.
Yeah.
Ehsalese.
Yeah.
See, yes, that's what it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited for you guys, man. It sounds to me like you're on the cusp of continuing changing your life for the better forever.
Yeah.
Right?
It'll always be better, dude. Yeah.
I'm gonna go treasure hunting with my kids in Egypt because I don't know if there's movement. It's gonna be
right. Did your daughter, is she able to come back into the country, or like is there gonna be a reunion? You did.
8 months and 12 days later, I got them.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was dying inside. I'm like, I gotta know, did you come back? Like
yeah. I had $4 million in debt at age 20.
Okay, let's talk about that. Like, how did you get there, and how did you get out of there?
How did I get? When this happened, I was. It was a drunken accident. It's a long story though.
Yeah, we got time, man. If you can share it, we got time. What do you guys think?
Okay, this is gonna be. Okay, nice. For the first time ever, I'm gonna try to actually consciously think about making the point of telling the story. Jesus Christ. Okay, so I got a blood clot in 2005 that was basically stopping me from doing anything. I woke up in the bed and my arm was 11 centimeters larger than the other arm. So something was weird. I had sex in a different position. I thought that might be it, but then it turned out to be a blood clot. So 14 days after I saw that this was happening, they figured out that they're going to check it out because the doctor was like, it might be a tick actually, or you might have the flu or whatever else explanation they tried to just toss at the problem. You might have a diagnosis. Take these. Yeah, all that shit. So 14 days afterwards, I was sent to the doctors. An experienced person went by, a certified doctor, not just an overweight one, or an overweight certified fitness coach. We're going to get more into that. But he knew what it was the problem because he had seen that throughout his 40-year career. So he said, that's a blood clot. Get him the fuck to the hospital.
Yeah.
And I guess 20 minutes later, I was on my way to the airport because they had booked this tiny plane for me. And on my way to Oslo hospital, where I just figured out that this is going to define my life forever. And I fell into victimized mindset because I lost my degree, my graduation, while I was in the hospital. So I never really continued school. This mentality got me to drink a lot. And people were just like, the party is at his place, right? Every day of the week. And that just led to new bad choices, less consequential thinking and all that stuff. So I ended up talking to different people that was not too good to talk to.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, we tried to score a PS4 because he wanted one in the middle of the night, drunk. We couldn't. And he said, I'm going to just go over there. And I said, I just got this thing. It's at home. They don't sell it there. I know this for a fact. But it was not an issue. Well, it was not an option to not do what he had planned to do. And I figured, fuck it. I'm just going to go with it. So then he's starting to plan. How can we get the cops out? Well, we can remove the SIM card from the phone and then call in the fatal accident in the next municipality over. And they have to send all forces, right? Helicopters and all that shit. I think they almost fucking sent tanks. It's insane. Everyone went out there because he painted a horrible picture which is a horrible act in itself to have that thought. Happen, right? But when you're in that mindset, you don't think about consequences. You're just a freaking monster that thinks in one way, one frequency, very low, right? But it ended up with us going over to the mall to try to get into this because the store was inside of the mall. And I figured there's not going to be a PS4 there, or a PS3. So I'm just going to sit here. I'm going to wait. I'm not going to do shit. I'm just sitting there drinking and smoking. And then he comes back around with a can of gas that he throws towards me. What I didn't see was that the lid was off, so the gas sprayed all over the place. And I didn't think a lot back then. So I figured how cool it would be to just lit this little puddle on fire to see how it burned. And then it burned a lot, and it exploded. So we just ran. The panic took us. We ran through the city and then around the block, and then I just lived right outside. But then as we crossed the corner, we see this orange hue over the entire middle part of that area. And we got a little panicked. So we went home and figured out we're going to go back and check it out because that's almost a smart thing. And especially with a sweater with my name printed on it. If you have that ego thing, like, I'm going to show them what I'm called, actually. So we went back. People remember the name because they have a very special kind of last name. Seppola is not something that everyone is called. So this fireman sees us. We first see the fire, which is so huge that we know that was not just a stack of pallets. This is kind of bad. And we decided to go back home. And then I woke up with the most fucking intense hangover from knocking. And outside were two uniformed individuals, and they wanted to talk to me. So I went back. I went with them, panicked, down to the police station where they said that we know that you were at the fireplace last night. This was my first offense. So a long time back and forth. I've seen TV. I know how these interrogations work. I'm not going to say shit. I'm actually going to be mystical. And I guess those with experience can see that, they have that frequency a bit above. So they see those things. And so they kept pushing. And my mom came in as like the supporter. And she said that, this is going to be painful no matter what. Let's just realize it. Isn't it better to just try to alleviate the pain by just telling it as it was? I was like, that's a big ask, Mom. I went back in, and by this time I had received a hamburger because those are good leverages. I was sitting there talking to him. He was smiling a little bit, and then he's like, almost, did you do it? But I basically laid my cards on the table, and I just told my part of the story, right? I tried to just say, okay, this is what happened. I was it. And I didn't try to include him, but we were two, so it was kind of obvious. And they were spreading all of these details, me being the first time in an interrogation. The fuck out. I figured I'm just going to have to do it some way and just try to get this done. We ended up in prison. And then for some reason, he was released ahead of my time because he didn't tell the truth.
Right.
As far as they knew, he was still kind of innocent because they didn't have any evidence that he did anything and he hadn't spoken. And there was no evidence saying that he actually did anything. So he was released ahead of me. And then I was like, that is some freaking jury system. The law around this is just amazing. I was released and I had learned how to burn people with acid in the prison. So I had gotten what I needed to dispose of the human. That was where I was. And then I got a good way of the distance and I was like, what are you thinking about? Because I just came out of prison, but I was at that frequency.
Yeah.
But then I had a second thought. I drove back and I knew that this is going to do some shit. Now I'm a free man. Everyone knows that I torched the only pub in town, which is not a good thing in the Christian belt. They got pissed. People started to shun me on the street. And I was going to buy beer. And this cashier says, thank you for burning my business down, bitch. Right? It was like, damn, that was the first, right? And the entire national news had told everyone that I was going to be a debt victim for life, right? My lawyer told unfold the frick newspaper. Are they supposed? Is that legal?
No.
No, I don't think there is. But I saw my life unfold on TV, basically. And that is an interesting third perspective.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, that is just like, I did that. Oh, that's interesting. But then I started to hang out with different people again, bad people. I just came out from prison. Now I was a criminal, and everyone was seeing me as such, right? So I started to hang out with people, and I figured I'm going to get a hefty fine for this, or prison, or whatever. I had to get settled. I didn't get my graduation as planned, so now I have to figure out some way to do something. Let's become a robber, right? You get such great ideas when you're down there. So that's what I did, and we planned and we did, and hurt a lot of people, or 3 especially, because we robbed 3 places. And at the second one, as though the fear of doing the first one was intense enough. I mean, you're trying to put yourself into a character of something that you really don't want to be, because I think, theoretically, that if you're doing something you know is inherently wrong and bad to another person, you are going to feel it and have to struggle through to do it. Almost like trying to become better, you can actually strive to become worse. You can cross boundaries in the negative as well. So I went pretty far down, and I told this taped up woman that I know where you live while I'm pointing a gun at her in Norway with the fucking ski mask on. I know that hurt her bad, and I hated it, because this was not me, but although it was me, right? And I was like, well, this is just who I am. And then if you accept that, it's horrible. So I felt bad. And because of that, things kind of shifted as we went through this. And I helped with another robbery, number 2, which was easier because now we knew kind of what we were doing. And it was in morning, right? It was a bus driver alone. So we planned this to be as cruel as possible, almost. When we did that, we figured we're not going to do this on our own. So we actually paid someone or bribed someone to do it, the last one, for us. And he was just with us for his dependency. That is horrible, like using people for their limitations. Right? So he did that out of desperate means. Like, he owed us money, and we were those people who were just like, well, then you're going to do something for us, right? Now I understand how it is to be that person, how that escalated. But luckily, after we tried all these criminal ways of getting money, I was driving my ex, or my current girlfriend, my then current girlfriend, to the bus stop. And as we stopped in the ATM to get money, I said, look at those fucking fools. Like, there's a cop car on the bus station. I was like, if they just knew what was right here. Fucking losers, right?
Yeah.
She's getting money, and I'm rich. Like, I'm giving my mom $500 just like, here you go, Mom. Right? That kind of guy.
Right.
And I let her take out money, and I just had so much fun over the cops sitting right there, the irony of the situation. But then I ran around the corner, the bus left, and I had to chase it down. Then I saw this car following me. I was like, that's interesting. Like, he has the same, like, he's in a rush just like me. Maybe he's also going for the bus station. And then he did that for every overtake I did. And I was like, that was it. That was weird. But then I stopped. I get to a bus, like just a bus stop. And within seconds, there are God knows how many cars. I think like 4 cars just swarming that spot. And out comes people in like black policemen in this SWAT outfit with MP5s, helmets, everything. I was like, what is going on, right? In shock, I'm just continuing to hailing the bus. And then my girlfriend comes out, and I just try to say goodbye, right? Give her a kiss, like nothing is going. It's like sitting in the fucking kitchen table with the coffee saying everything is fine, but everything is on fire.
Right.
And shortly after, they tossed me up against the bus, handcuffed me. I said, I'm going to call you as soon as I can, to my girlfriend. The entire bus is seeing this. She has to be on that bus for the entire length home, which is like 2 hours. I can't even imagine. So I was tossed into prison, thank God, because now I had been challenging my lower frequencies so far that I was not seeing any limitation. It's almost like the exact opposite of this. It is exactly the opposite. So I saw that I was capable of anything. which is scary. I mean, people have made songs about this. There's a monster inside of me never let you see. I keep it caged so you won't control it. It's like it's always trying to get out, but then if you accept that it's there and you've been there, you know that it's there, and you know that you went through a journey together. You can sit back. We know we got this. It's that confidence going through the shit. And I think there's a lot of different kinds of shit. But in prison, I was in isolation for 7 months. They actually got me in there for like a first 7 days in the drunk tank. Did not know what day it was standing on my head singing the national anthem. I got crazy.
Yeah.
And then they tossed me into the cell, being benevolent and all, saying that this is where you're going to live for the foreseeable future for 13 days, because that's what they applied for. 13 days, complete solitary confinement. No visitors, no letters, no TV, media, nothing. Just be there, right? All right. And actually it was 14 days. And then at the 13th day, they just applied for a new stay. And they did that every time because it was legal to go over 14 days. So they made sure to just overloop it. There was like this loophole in the law saying that if it was separate ones, it's not going to count as one stay. So I stayed in there for 3 months. And that kind of fucked me up royally. So I started to draw everything I saw. And I started to think about how I can release my body weight on the sink and all those crazy thoughts that I've never had before. And I'm jealous. Sickeningly jealous. Like I think of everything that my girlfriend is doing with another man as I'm in this cell alone. So really creating my own pain and reality. Right. So after 3 months, they were going to let me out because now they had received a lot of evidence, basically convict or arrested 40 of my friends, saying that I was a leader of this criminal fucking league. Showing this in the national paper with like 50 or 20 or 50, a lot of people, 41 probably. In this paper on 2 pages, all of them black. Like this person was from here, this age, blah, blah, blah. 2 of them were red. And it said that one of these 20-year-olds set fire to them all, right? It was supposed to be anonymous, but everyone at that time knew exactly who that was. So they could just as well just a picture, a name, how I eat and shit every morning. Like very clear, right? And I saw how my reality shifted every day because I was waiting for something I never knew was going to come. I could try to just live in my brain, seeing where I could go, but it would never change because it was depending on what they would allow me to do, right?
Yeah.
So I went through a lot of things and tried to become what people say that you have to become in prison. You have to become this hard person that's not going to back down and stuff. And that made me try to be someone that, again, I'm not, which I guess just got things to the next level, right? There was a lot of things that happened in that prison, and I know that right now it feels weird talking about it because I've never shared it. This is actually a new shit for me. Okay, so in the prison, people were of all kinds, right? This was a maximum prison system, and we were just locked in this place because after 7 months, I figured I could start to see people again, and I got into this gen pop. One of the people in there had a razor blade in his mouth that he had practiced shooting out of his mouth because his Iranian uncle or something or father had taught him how to protect himself in those conditions. Just knowing that dude was going around with a razor blade in his mouth, it did something with my mind. And then knowing what other people were in for, like horrible. The people you see in the news were sitting and eating lunch with me, right? And I was just going through what I could. We had a good relationship with everyone, and it was just our reality. We had just had to adapt to that environment, right? So I took up studying. I started to read Harry Potter to get out of my head. I started to just do things to live in another place. And then the trial comes up, and there they are. Everyone that I hurt, everyone that I put through all that pain, my ex sitting there on the stand with her father behind her, a MC leader from the west part of country. Like last time I saw him, I was basically asking his daughter to date her. And asking him if it was okay for him. He was on a motorcycle party or a festival with all of his charter. And he was the leader. And as I asked him, how are you doing, right? Trying to open the communication. He said, this guy should have been buried and killed right now for what he did to his daughter, to my daughter. There was a lot of people there. And I said, I agree. And I should have brought the shovel. Because I kind of knew that I was going to be fucked either way in that situation.
Yeah.
It was if I tried to just be as positive, I guess, as I could, I had no understanding of what I have today. So I just tried to do what I felt was best. And he said that it requires something special for you to come up here, knowing who's here, to ask again to date my daughter, who you put through hell when you went to prison the first time. And how jealous I was of her and everything that I did. So when I was in prison, I was jealous, and I burnt that right out. When I came out, I was a different person, not jealous anymore. So I met her and wanted to kind of continue what we had. But then I got into the whole robbery thing, went to prison, and now his father has all that experience of me, right? So it was a tense situation. And seeing how she relived those moments, how she broke down, she was accused by the defenders, or the attorneys. Whole shit show. And this happened for all the victims. After that, I figured I'm never going to do this again, ever. And I put all the cards on the table. I said that I'm going to explain my part in this and nothing else. That's what I know. That's what I'm going to talk about. And then my partner's attorney started to say, can you deny that my client had anything to do with this? Like this murder spree or this robbery spree and all these crimes and all that stuff. And I said, no, I'm not going to deny or confirm anything. I'm going to take responsibility for what I did and tell it from my story and my point of view, because I actually feel it's kind of a dick move to put me on a stand, literally put me on the stand, make me decide if I was going to throw myself under the bus for him so that he comes off scot-free, while he was also the one initiating a lot of these actions. So I told him my story, and it was like between 4 and 6 days in this courtroom, and it was just being there every day, going through every single detail of your life and more. Did you masturbate in this tissue next to the bed? I don't know, maybe. Right? Things that has nothing to do with the case. They talk everything on it. And when I got out, I swore that when I got now jumped ahead. When we got home or back to the prison from the courtroom, he saw me as a snitch because I had told something that was not to his liking, and he actually had to either fabricate a story where he was not part of this, telling a completely different narrative, or trying to just admit what he did and say and collaborate with the story so that people know the entire picture, right? You have those, we call those Ehsalese intersections. You have a choice and you need to do it. But it's going to be tough, and it's going to be you accepting something different. But he did. But he was pissed because now he had 3 years in prison himself, like me, right? We got sentenced to 3 years. And I had been in prison for a long time already because, by now I was a working criminal, basically. So I was in prison from 2008 to 2011. And then I started this journey where I tried to just create my freedom. I swore I was never going to go back to prison. And I wanted to create my own freedom because I had blood clots still. I was still victimized, basically. But then I go and I meet this girl at a job that I got, and we get a son at, long story short, soul-sucking job. There's actually not a lot to say about soul-sucking jobs. Factory jobs, you know what it is, right? You don't have to explain it. So I met this girl, we had a son, and he changed my perspective because at this time I was a sex chat operator. Oh my God, seeing the darkness of that side of the internet. I was in the company that has a whole bunch of female profiles, and they will basically chat regardless of sex or name or actual identity of this person. They will chat with people who have paid to chat with that person. It was a horrible world. Seeing people being in love and wanting to meet a fictitious person, and your job is basically to deceive them. That is literally your job. So I was doing that, and then I got my job and my son, trying to make my money streaming and YouTube and creation, all that stuff. Got my son and saw that I can't do this. I have to do something else. And me and his mom split up, and in the coverage or in the severance, as we divided up the things after the relationship, she got me 4 to 6 tickets to a festival. And I figured I needed to have a break. So I went to that festival as a part of those tickets, met my soul friend, the love of my life, Michelle, and had a daughter with her. Just that alone, just that festival cannot be described in less than a book, because it was a dent in the universe, love at first sight, and a whole bunch of things that just concludes and basically, confirms that all of this is a thing. When you're doing these things, you're going to lead to new things that's just going to continue evolving, right? Yeah, that festival completely changed my view of life. But they got deported. And during that time, I found psychedelics, I found quantum physics, epigenetics. I studied how to improve myself, try to get them back, set goals, try to help as many as I could with my experience, learn marketing, sales, was working as a coach for different companies, and then figured if I can do all of this, learned all of the things within sales, advertising, marketing, all those things before, why can't I use that for myself? But what do I want to do? What do I want to share, right? Yeah. And that has put us up to this new path, meeting like-minded people, developing Ehsalese, the whole thing that we're doing, just creating something so unique that people cannot really put them into words, right? So we had to invent our own inside of like this legacy forge. We call it the legacy forge, where you come in and you use your path to create your strength, from past or pain to power, warrior to warrior, and just always mess to message. That is a good one.
Wow. Oh, that's so powerful.
Yeah. It's insane. That is the cliff notes of the journey, I think, and that is the first time I've tried to be that detailed. Thank you,
man. That's an amazing story, man. Thank you for sharing it. Like I feel like I get to know you more, and I'm glad I don't know the old Tor. That guy was a piece of shit.
Yeah, exactly. See, that is the beautiful thing about it, because I started to document my journey through the 100-day challenge. After what I just shared, the journey is documented.
Yeah,
everything is online. I've documented everything since that moment in time in 2018, and 100 days, and the journey, and everything that happened afterwards. It's insane.
Okay, so I've learned something from that story, and I'm curious. Like, that is such an amazing transformation, and it's first off, it takes a lot of balls to share that. I'm truly thankful for that, Tor. That's a cool. It takes a lot of courage to be vulnerable like that, especially when you have come from a place where vulnerability was probably looked at as a sin or weakness. You know, it's
we're Vikings.
Yeah, I can hear you, man. I can see the strength in all of you guys, and I admire it. But the true strength is being able to look back at the past and seeing this thing you thought was strength wasn't strength. It was the illusion of strength. And in fact, you were trying to chase strength by being this person that you weren't, man. But you have something, Tor. You know, and I see this in a lot of people, where even some of the people who play the role of the worst criminal, they have this ability to look into the souls of other people. When you were in your criminal phase, you could probably see vulnerability in other people, and you exploited it. But it seems now you have the ability to see this thing in other people and build upon it, right? To create, like, and you know what that is? Like, that ability to see that in other people is because you can see it in yourself, man. And I'm so fucking glad that you have become the person you have, man. That takes a lot to do. Most people can't. Most people get stuck down there. And when you say things like, look, the energy down here, you can push yourself down and push yourself up and up. That's something that only someone who's been there can do.
I think that the people who carry the bags need to do it, because they have to give the tools to others, you know.
Right? And can you see the bags you've been carrying, Marcel? You were locked in a room, and all of a sudden you are starting to see the very foundation which you came from. You, Marius, and what I've heard from you say, you talked about growing up as a child and having this trauma, and then recently, hey, I've locked myself in this room. You're beginning to see the patterns in your life. Yeah. And pretty soon, the next step is you're going to be able to see all the things that happened to you in the lives of other people, and you are becoming the guy that's going to have his own group of people, and you are going to be the leader. You're going to be the teacher. And like, I can see what you guys are doing, man. I can see it in all you guys. It is. It's challenging, though.
You're an amazing guy, man.
You know what happened here? You know what they tried to explain in The Secret and all those things?
Right.
You've just seen it happening in this podcast. The last hour just explained all of it.
Yeah.
It comes from being open, I think. And it comes, it's hard. Okay. So in the beginning of the conversation, when Tian was telling his story, Tor, I saw you reach over to him and say, it's hard though. It's hard though. Like I think that it's very difficult to maintain, and it takes a lot of discipline in order to maintain where you're at when times get tough, and they will get tough. Like,
That's
what
what
are
you
some
need.
things? Right. That's where the tribe comes in. What are some of the challenge? Have you ever found yourself in some challenging times since you've begun this new journey, Tor, and you've had these old friends? I'm sure that at points in time, the dark night of the soul creeps up sometimes, or you have old people that try to suck you back down. What are some strategies that you use in order to maintain a higher consciousness?
I think that is really deceptively simple.
Okay.
It's accept. Basically accept. Like if people come, I guess when you get through a certain point, you're going to transcend the material. So it's not going to be a thing about where you're going to live. It's not going to be a thing about how are you going to get around in a vehicle or whatever. I think it's more of a physical energy the lower you go, right? Harder to move. When you get up, the energy gets lighter. So it's a lot easier to see the actual problem because all the other problems are away. There's not 100 problems at once. There's just a few, and you can kind of prioritize, right? And when you do that enough, I guess you get really conscious of this energy. Like if you feel that dissonance or you're not harmonizing as well anymore, you're going to be able to see like, okay, I need to make a decision here. So last time, there has been a lot actually. Me and the girl I met at the festival, we have split up. We're not together right now. Although I love her and she's a part of my soul, and she does that same with me. We're not together because we're trying to redefine relationship. We're trying to see that it's possible to live a life in Ehsalese where you're completely free and the person you're with is completely free. And the reason you're together is because you both choose it and it's the best option of all the options. But if you want to go and do something with someone else, be free. Go ahead. Because I know that you choose me at the end. And if you don't, I'm okay with that. But it's coming to that point of saying, I'm okay with that. Like we broke up because of this energy where it's on completely different frequencies on some levels, right? But we connected really well in others. So it's about what do you really want? When we had to go in there and I had to take this conversation, it was like biting the bullet. It was saying, listen, we have to talk about this. This is not benefiting any of us, right? Both of us are being dragged down and both of us should be free. So how can we fix that? And then it's like, well, for me is this. Well, for me is this. And it's like, okay, are you willing to go on a journey? Do you want to try to fix this? Although the answers can only come from within, right? And then just going on that discovery, wanting to make the journey. And then as you go, I guess more love is just overshadowing things. So the hard thing, it's like ice bathing. It's hard for the first seconds, but if you go through it, you're in it. Then it's just ride the wave. It's the same thing with everything. It's just what consequences are you willing to accept for doing those choices? Yeah. And then when you do, you know that you see most likely that the reality that happened as a consequence was not the reality that you created trying to imagine the solution or imagine the consequence before it happened. So it's accepting and just be here. Right now, everything that's happening is that we are having this conversation, right?
Yeah.
I recently have had some experiences, I'm straightening up my life and like making up for my past. So I've had some difficult conversations to make. But I felt it was really necessary, to really get further in my development. And I was like, standing in front of the column, like, oh fuck, no, I don't want to do this. Try to meditate for a long time. It's like it was so. I felt it's like so much fear, even though I knew I've been in these experiences before, and I knew on the other side it's what I want, But the fear is still there for some reason. I had my tribe to lean on, and I also, I was like,
Transformative Ehsalese.
Hey, Tian, I got a question for you, Tian. How do you think you would have reacted had you met Tor 15 years ago and you met him?
Wow. Oh yeah, but like the old Tor.
Yeah.
Good question.
Well,
Yeah.
how would I? Well, I was like 5 or 6 years old, but I would probably like
if you were your age now and you had met the old Tor.
I would from where I'm now, I would probably see that he's troubled somehow, you know. And I've come to the conclusion that it's not people's fault for being or becoming what they are, you know. So from this perspective, I would not have judged him, and I would
Because people are not their actions.
Yeah, they're not their actions.
Yes, the experience that you go through, but what you do with them is up to you, right?
Yeah.
Being able to see that people can change.
Yeah. That's a good answer.
That actually brings me to the question: what part of your shift would you say psychedelics have had? No, like, yeah,
Dude,
Good question.
that's a good question. When I lost my daughter, I experienced something completely different. Never ever seen something of that nature. So it got me curious. What's more? Because I didn't have those thoughts. Got to meditating, and through meditation, which I also documented in the 100-day challenge, I found one episode. I don't know which one it is, but I go into this really deep meditation, like a long one, and I went on a very, very vivid and emotionally heavy journey. And I went from me and just visualizing as far as I could out of the universe. And then as I went, less planets, all of a sudden it was just this black to white line. And all of a sudden I was back into another universe, which was negative of what I just came from.
Right.
So I went back into myself from there, and then out of myself and into myself. And then all of a sudden I had created this multi-dimensional snowflake in my head as a Pixar movie, which zoomed out into a drop of air, which then did this Pixar thing where it just went up to a whale, which turned into an eye and then popped. And when I got out, I was sweating. I was hard to breathe. Like I was really shook because I was like, what the, right? And that got me thinking that this came from something that I really didn't consciously think about. So I started to investigate more. How can I get deeper?
Yeah.
And I found the Silva method. And I tried different meditations, and I tried Wim Hof, and I read books and took courses, and all of a sudden I found plant medicine like cannabis, and was able to get even deeper. And there was something in it that is not what I've been told. I'm supposed to eat the faces of the neighbors right now, right? So it kind of shook me to the core. It's like, this is not what the reality I have been living in was like. And it got me more interested, got me into reading about psychedelics, and I tried LSD. By then I had read so much that I knew a lot about my mind, and all of a sudden it became necessary for me to be the guide of the two experienced trippers that were sitting there who had just taken 2 back-to-back. Who the fuck does that? Right? So I came in there not knowing what I went into, but I saw that they had a good time, kind of scared of everything. And it was like, wow, I hope that doesn't happen to me, right? I was just thinking, just going through all these motions and seeing what that was. Next day, I called Canada for a machine that creates wool, and it had broken down. So I was like, where's the manual? And I got the manual. I read through it, which was insane because it was fast. I was feeling it more than I was reading it. And then I was like, all right, I'm going to call them. And I called them. Dave picks up and says that, not often they get a call from Norway at this hour, right? They wanted to send a specialist in 2 weeks' time. I was like, but I think that the problem is on the L205 on the back rear thingy, right? And I went fucking technical on his ass.
Right.
And he was like, yeah, and okay, yeah, you just do that. You go in there, you loosen a little bit, and then just tap really slightly. I was like, all right, thank you. That's all I need to know. And I fixed that thing. And then I was like, that was new, right?
Yeah.
So the clarity phase was something that I really enjoyed, but I didn't really enjoy going into it and then being there for God knows how many 2 days. I think it took a lot of time before I got back, but it opened my eyes to psychedelics and what that was. And I started to think that I did not use that as the other people did. They were sitting there having a party, trying to see.
Right.
I went in within and saw things that I never considered them.
Right.
So I guess, that was actually one of those. I was actively looking for the things in my brain to kind of confront and see and expand and do things with. And I found mushrooms. I started to learn how to create mushrooms, like cultivating mushrooms with reishi and turkey tail and lion's mane, all these amazing plant freaking aliens. And just blew my mind. I found Paul Stamets, which introduced me to mushrooms, cubensis, and semilanceata, like Liberty caps. And I found this love, this deep and intense, like real sense of love in Liberty Cap. Like it was something, because it was so true. It was truth. For me, other mushrooms put a filter on my mind and I saw different colors and all that stuff. But Liberty Cap made me really see the person that I need to confront. And it was talking over the face to tell me, now you need to listen here, boy. Right? Very like a friend who will tell you to your face and you can deal with it.
Yeah.
And not stab you in the back and pretend to be something else. So it was honest. I loved that with it. And I started to experiment with microdosing and meditation and just getting to a completely new level. Like, woo, kind of level. Right? And I just could not understand why people had not seen this before. Like, what the hell are we doing if this is not the completely default thing that happens, right? So I had to go and learn a lot about that. And I joined a group, like for 200 people, I think. And 200 people. And now we're about 7,000. I think we're just about to cross 7,000 people, all about Liberty Caps. And so I learned so much. I taught others, learned more, right? Have you heard of the FAST method by Jim Quick?
No, please share with me.
It's basically when you're learning something, forget that you know anything about it. So you're not going to go into it with any prejudice or trying to figure like that. I know that, I don't need that. Go in with a completely new mind. Forget everything that you know. Active, so take notes, ask questions, and just be there, right? State, have a mindset of actually wanting to learn and be curious and wanting, like, what's the why behind what you're doing? And then teach. So you're teaching it and you're learning it twice. And the more you do that, the more of an understanding you get, the more ideas you're getting fed, the more the whole understanding of the entire concepts are being seen. And all of a sudden you find quantum physics and unity and all those things that you thought was hard, right? But it's all about the energies. So that group grew. That group grew. And that's just a bit of the adventure.
Yeah.
Now we're basically figuring out, we're learning how to really take it to the levels after the 10 next levels, right? We have started something today, which has been a complete resonance all the time. And we have just been expanding consciousness all through today. It's been actually on the parking lot, we were standing and talking. Then he's going like, oh my God. And it's just, oh my God. Like the Trinity, the everything, the energy and flow in the thing that we created was just, oh my
amazing. God. Oh my God.
We popped out of it. Like we were so deep in it that was like, holy shit.
And we needed to sit down and start breathing. What is going on?
It was
we just need to relax. Feel I'm flying.
Yeah.
So what I'm seeing here is this tribe. We're meeting our fears. We get comfortable to being in our fears to get the greatness. Because the greatness is so big that the fear is so small. You know,
love overshadows the shadow.
It's so. I'm sorry.
Follow the light. Love.
Yeah. I want to go, but there's so much in there, man. I'm super stoked I can't believe this is like your guys' first coming together. Like you guys, this is an intense conversation, man. I can feel the intensity.
The first thing, like George, you're gonna always be so special to us.
Yeah, George.
I'm part of it, man.
Yeah, you are. Truly, dude. So when are we going to meet? Next year?
Yes.
When I'm coming out there, or you guys come out here or something, we'll figure it out, man. I'll bring my team.
Yeah. Just hang out a little bit. We're going to build this amazing ice bathing hut. So just
totally, man.
Yeah,
totally, man.
We hope someone will see those who are looking at this. We hope the person who are looking at this who really wants to experience this. We know how it feels like to live in fear because
I have one mind-blowing idea. How many people are listening to you, George?
I think we'll probably reach about maybe 500 to 1,000 people on the first day.
First day. Okay, so we said a year. We needed 400 people to try this energy thingy. We said a year, but we just need to communicate that if anyone wants to, we can do it in a month.
Yeah,
400 people.
We want 400 people. We want to build an energy that the universe is going to explode, because we know that we can make it happen.
Yeah.
Because we
Absolutely.
feel-
Here's the thing, though. Like, if anyone feels called to do this, you need to be willing and open and wanting to go into that fear, wanting to be a little weird, standing like this, woo,
Like
on the
like-
beach in the public, right? You need to be going with the flow.
Go with the
Oh,
flow.
it's so good. On the ice, man. Getting over your fears.
Maybe it feels like a little bit different right now where you're sitting, but remember, we're a tribe, we're a pack, we're gonna motivate you. We are in the same frequencies, we are the same energy. Maybe it feels like difficult right now where you sit, but it's not going to feel that difficult when you're in it.
Yeah. And dude, my life was, I felt so hopeless to die. I decided to die, but even I made it, man. Even I made it. And if I can do it, you can do it too. Yeah, that's true.
Oh, that's a beauty.
Yeah.
Do you remember, Stian? Like what was it like at the moment you were at your depths of despair? Was there a thought that came into your mind or a light that lit up for you that was like, wait a minute, this is wrong? Like, was there something that came to you in that moment?
Well, the moment I knew stuff, actually subconsciously, but the moment I knew I was not ready to die was actually because I had some shanga, some DMT, and I put that in a joint, right? And I smoked that at the beach. Like, my life was already fucking hopeless. Let's fucking try DMT, So I smoked it and two swans. You know the swans?
Yeah.
Yeah. So beautiful. They flew past me and like suddenly we connected and they turned around and like they flew towards me and we connected and they were asking me like, yeah, are you gonna join? Are you ready? And I was like, oh, no, wait. Well, no, wait. I'm not ready yet, And then, I've come to realize now that's what that was. That's when I knew I was not really, I didn't really want to die. I thought so, yeah.
Yeah. This is life calling you back, man. Like, you ain't done yet. You got people to teach. You got lessons to learn. You have people that you're going to inspire, man. You ain't coming over here yet. You ain't ready.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Marius, what about you? Like, you had mentioned a second ago that, you had a very nice message to people about like, hey, look, if you're feeling in fear or there's another thing out there, what was it for you in the moment where you decided to take the next step?
Back in 2018, I was in the system and got a lot of diagnosis and got a lot of medications.
Right.
So I ran in on a 7-month psychosis every day. Every single day, psychosis.
Right.
Psychosis.
Right.
So what I've seen is that when we take this psychedelic and we make this energy flow, it's like the same way to be in a psychosis kind of thing,
That's what they identify that as. That's
their
the
label for
they put
you.
on.
Their sickness they put on you.
Yeah. And I tried and I smoked a little bit of cannabis and they told it was the cannabis to make you sick, man. But the doctor in Amsterdam tells me that with cannabis with the right CBD and THC resets brain function with psychosis.
It's important to say that.
Yeah, because psychosis, when you can control it, you just have a contact with the universe. So my opinion of this is that when I was really low down and I was sick of the medication, the universe grabbed me and showed me myself. I got this self-confidence that was so high. I was running at the beach naked, screaming in the water, and feeling this relief and this love and this worth like a person, I got this, when I looked at the sun was, and I was breathing at the sun, did inhalation and breathing at the sun gets stronger and bigger. I can feel it coming through me. And I experienced so much energy from above and that was the time I took contact with Tor Erik, with Tor. And I believe that we was in family. I believe that he was some kind of brother to me, and I needed to contact him. So that's when the whole thing happened. So when I took the psychedelic, and special today, I saw that psychosis is this kind of energy, but some kind of out of control because you don't know what happened.
Yeah.
It's the doctors say that this is. We will never find out what psychosis is.
It's just a stupid statement.
That's what the doctor says, you know. So what is psychosis? I'm trying to learn something about it, and I have learned a lot. But I think the universe will show me what really psychosis is. And
You have forgot that like
psychosis,
three-
you know. So don't be afraid, you guys, if you believe psychosis or something. If you get CBD or something, you can calm it down.
But then again, just to clarify, when you were psychotic, how many people were you consciously hanging around with that could bring you to the next level?
No one.
So you were alone trying to
I
fix the
was
same problem with the same
alone,
mind.
but I was alone, but I was talking about my look at life, you know.
And that made you seem crazy.
Yeah, that's made me seem crazy. And then the police came by my door because I was so happy. I was so excited about the universe. I was talking about this energy and cannabis and nature, and that the system is a lie. And they try to kill us with what they're saying on the TV, because if you're saying the same fear as so many times, your brain is going to believe it, you know.
Right.
But our brain is so stupid, but also so smart. So it's important to understand that if the TV tells you something, but you know it's not true, but your brain, but you hear it every day, your brain will believe it in the end. So.
And this was before the entire world shit show that we know as a media happened. So being that guy that said it back then, before everything had been uncovered, it really takes a toll. People are looking at you as you're a fucking crazy person. Yeah. But that says a lot.
It does. In a world that is full of lies, the person who sees clearly looks like the criminal. The person who sees clearly, right, is the person everyone is running away from. Like, that guy's crazy. No, you're the person telling the truth. You're the person ringing the bell. Hey, look, there's a problem here. And because think about what it means for the majority of people, for them to understand that I don't want to say everything, but the majority of what people believe, their reality is not reality. So when you begin reminding them that there's a problem, they have to call you crazy. Otherwise, they have to begin to think that maybe they're a little crazy. And people don't like that. They don't like that.
Yeah, exactly, man.
And they'll put you away for that. Like, hey, get out of here. You're ruining the party, man. We want to live in fantasy land, you know?
Exactly. But now, as we are starting to openly share how we see it, other people see that and find the courage to share their story. And then that is how we get to another place.
We're not alone anymore. No. We're together about this. I mean,
just three here.
Just three here and you there. And
every great philosopher in history was put in prison. You know, the original thinkers, like, you know, when it was Galileo and these Copernicus, they're like, hey, we're not the center. Well, what happened? They were shut up. They were shunned. They were put to death. All these people, like, you know, there's
get burned.
The witches, right?
Nature medicine and this universe.
That's too much, man. Burn.
Yeah.
Insane.
It is. It's crazy.
Relationships, how that just got introduced and taught to us from every movie angle and Hollywood and media and just everything. How marriages were not for love. It was to strengthen the family, to keep the kingdom. To be like, people marry themselves or their kins, like their sister. This has been a corrupted system from way back when they didn't know shit. Now we just know better. Although poor fucking royalty. They have to learn the horrible way.
Yeah, it's so interesting. You know, when I think of the word history, I think of it as two words: his story. When you look at it from that angle, it's just a story that was told to you since you were a child. And the people that find themselves losing it later in life, whether they turn to crime or whether they have psychosis or whether they try to commit suicide or, we do all kinds of things in our life because things don't make sense. And it's usually people like us, people that get up and who have calluses on their hands and go to work every day. Like, we are the leaders. It's up to us to make the change in society. And the people on top can't make the change. They're used to controlling stuff from the top down, but that's not where change happens. Change happens from the bottom up, from people like you going out and making the world different, from people standing around and saying, think about what that guy said to you. What is the secret? Like, here's a guy looking at three people, like, right? I think we're talking about it right now. Like, this is the secret,
Exactly.
I want to shift gears for a minute too, Tor. You had mentioned that when you had called the company in Canada and were able to explain about like the LD 500 link.
L205 nuggets thingy.
Thank you. Okay. So I was recently talking to the president of the Australian Psychedelics Association, and he brought up some things that I think you would find incredibly relevant, in that when taking psychedelics, and I'm sure everyone in your group will find this interesting, when we take psychedelics and we do it in a way that is conscious, we have our intention there, you can begin to see some fabrics of lies stripped away, and you can begin to see clearly the mechanism of action. And for you in that particular case, it was the problem with this machine is probably over here. It's interesting to me, and I'm curious to get your opinion on this. The same way you were able to think about the mechanics of that machine, so too are you able to see the mechanics of relationships with other people. Can you, like, right? It's interesting how psychedelics allows us to see the patterns, to see the mechanism of actions, not only in mechanical things, but also in relationships. And I'm wondering, can you see that, and can you leverage that?
Yes, absolutely. That is what it is all about. That is Ehsalese. Like, you're going from the mechanical, the physical, into flow and possibility. We talked about, you don't know what you don't know. Right. But people have a very strong opinion about almost everything that someone told them, blah, blah, blah. You know that line.
Right.
But if you feel it, you can't deny it. There's no possible way. So when you make sure that people not just learn, but they experience it, they're going to just remember how that solution felt, what they actually wanted, what they're searching for, right? I'm sorry if am I segueing now? Because I forgot my train of thought.
We were just going into mechanism of action and mechanics.
So when you kind of strip away, as you said, you strip away those lies and those things that just doesn't make sense anymore. So you kind of just clean the system. It's like rebooting a 10-year-old computer after having installed Pornhub. If they have an app. Do they have an app? I don't think they have. But the thing is, like, you're clogging the system, and when you're taking that hard reset or tossing out the bathwater, you're going to be more clearly able to see that energy. Like, I saw it. We need to do a story again, guys. When I got into this, I saw that there was different levels, different potencies, and like experiences from those different doses. So microdose, subliminal, you won't feel it.
Right.
Then starting to go into a moderate amount, and then as higher you go. And normally people will say that 5 grams of Liberty Caps is a high dose. And if you go for 8, well, then you're going to... Right? That is ego death in a bottle. And then I was like, I had a blood clot, right?
Right.
But it's very important that I say I had. Oh, Marius kan få ett glas. Marius, kan jag få ett glas? Sorry, we're thirsty cotton now. Basically, where was I?
Yeah, about the program stuff.
The trail, yes. So I had a blood clot, and I figured that for that to remove itself through epigenetics, to creating the system that will kind of not be hospitable for that thing.
Right. Okay.
I had to overshower with love to make sure that the system is going to overpower the disease. And for that to happen, I had to see things differently. So I figured I need to be okay with death. And that is one of those things that psychedelics says to do, right? It removes the fear of death.
So beautiful.
Yeah. So I was sitting there, 12 grams of Liberty Cap, just because I needed a big artillery in my ass.
Right.
This was as I was also learning what those things are.
Right.
So I had so many trips behind me that I kind of knew where I was going, and I just went for it. So I put on a soundscape. I had a trip sitter, my ex, and I just lay down after drinking this horrible water that I completely misjudged. Like instead of having 1 cup of 12 grams, I think I had like 3 big IKEA glasses with a lot of water, and I had to drink all. It was like, oh my god, what have I done? Right? a lot of honey and stuff went into soothe that.
Right.
But it took like 5 or 10 minutes before I was not there anymore. I had to lay down, and I put my phone on my chest, and I was like, yeah, that cannot be there, because I felt it was pushing all of a sudden. It was just pressing me down in the dark. Then remove that. I felt like my entire body, all my cells opened. I could hear the pop. I was talking to them about it earlier. I hear literally my cells pop in my ear, and there's a lot of cells. So sometimes it just takes ages, thousands of years for that to just go through. But as I was lying there, it was just taking me like an F-16 fighter jet, right? I was opening my eyes. Too much was happening. I could not keep them up, so I just closed them again.
Right.
And then I felt the energy being more free because I'd removed the device that was radiating. So I saw my energy, or I sensed it. It was like I had a visual, mental representation of the room I was in. So I knew where things were. I was hearing with my senses instead of seeing things and just making sense of it. And so I saw this frequency that was above my head as I was lying in the couch. And I figured, if that is where I am, and I saw this other frequency taller, like higher up, I was like, and that is where I want to go. Just need to run. And then I just pulled that, I pushed it. I took that energy and just pushed it up. And as it hit that desired frequency, I was like that clear. I was just opening my eyes, sitting back up, looking straight in my eyes of my ex. And she was like, what was that? I was like, I don't know, but right now I have all the answers to every single question in the universe. So fire away. You have very little space, and you should do this right now. And so she was like, okay. She started to ask, and lo and behold, those answers were spot on. And I don't even remember the answers, but I have recorded videos of me talking to the camera during that moment.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's a conversation I have not reviewed yet. So maybe I'm talking to myself now. Yeah. Oh my god.
Right?
Okay. I got up and I got the guitar because I can't play the guitar. But I heard the music. I heard some melody in my head, and I just had to get it out of my head. And I started to just make sounds. I wasn't able to make my finger, so I was just all over the place. And then you saw these sound waves, boom, 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 into the room. I was like, whoa, never saw that before. That was interesting. And so I just started to think, and I was really deep into it when I thought, holy shit, it's 11 a.m. What the fuck am I doing? Right? I got that paranoia. I was
right, totally.
I was 12 grams of criminal. Like, I was the most horrible. Oh my God, just hold me, right? I was there. I got the embrace. It was like, I'm safe again. And then she had to go. I couldn't go anywhere, so I just had to stay put.
Yeah.
I think I was going to go to bed, but I didn't know how to sleep. And I didn't know how the bed worked, or what I was, or why there was a phone there and how to use it. There was a lot of things that happened. So I was lying there for 500 years, it seemed, and I figured I should probably get something to eat to try to get down again, because this is insane. And then I did. I started to just eat some fruit. I got back. I thought it was over.
Next wave. Boom.
Oh my God. So I started to really find my balance again. And that's a part I love, because when my family came back home, I want to really shield my family from this thing, even though I know who I am. Like, I'm filled with gratitude and love to a level that cannot be explained. And I'm taking part in their experience of reality. I'm on their level. Like, there's a dinosaur in the kitchen. Right? Really going into like the stories and adventures that we've had. Superpowers from bark. I've done some weird stuff. So I just love to go into that space, right? And we had some fun. She went to bed, and I was like, I can't explain that. That was before we had found Ehsalese, right? And also, Ram Dass says that for those who've had the experience, no explanation is necessary. But for those who have not, none is possible. I'm very apt in this situation. But then I learned one immense thing, and that was you don't need 12 grams ever. But the things that has come after that has been like, I removed a lot of layers of the onion at the same time, and it just reset something huge. And after that, It is now the keys to the universe.
Yeah.
I don't remember the question, but I hope it answered it.
I think for those who, what was the quote again? For those who know, there needs be no explanation.
Yeah.
What?
For those who do not, there is no explanation possible.
I've never heard that before, but it's so true to the point, man. So true. Yeah.
What we have had all day is that.
What? Like, I'm having a great time. I want to continue, but do you have your friend coming in? Is your?
Oh shit! Has he landed?
I think it's about an hour and a half.
It's 8:30.
Yeah.
He has
Oh
landed.
my god, he has landed, man. You do that.
I just got the toilet that wipes your ass and opens the lid all of a sudden. We're building a bathroom, me and my dad, and
Nice.
we just got the things installed, and it was a toilet that actually opens as you close it in. Have you ever had one of those automatic toilets?
No, never. Never even
That's
heard
an
about it.
experience.
That is an
hear
experience.
I hear this tune as I approach. This it's amazing,
Right?
Yeah, so I just got confirmed that we got it. It's
Nice. Very nice.
good. Yeah, but we do have a fourth member that we have to call, pick up, calm,
Yes.
soothe, panic, whatever the word. But we are on an adventure, and he knew that. He comes in 9 hours after him, expects us to be in the lobby? No. We have to be there. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. So what?
Yeah.
Are you guys still okay to go for a little bit longer, or?
I don't know. Have you sent the message? Should we send the message? Yes.
You sent him a message.
He has not said
Yeah.
anything. You see.
Isn't he landing back?
No, I think it was 7 or 8:30, and it's like 5 minutes ago. So we're not that bad off. We're actually good friends. We remembered him.
Yeah. Right. With a little help from George.
Thank you, George. There we go. Just hope that this is the right number. That will.
Yeah. Right.
This is such an adventure that you take
Yeah.
part in. It's insane.
I'm excited to be here, man. This is fun. It's really interesting.
Yeah, it's really something. I'm grateful.
Hallo? Hei, hører du meg? Det er Tor. Hei. Ja, vi sitter i en podcast, sa du. I'm actually going to just speak in English, so that they don't think that, just have to wonder what I'm saying. So we're actually at the podcast with the good George Monty from TrueLife, and we just, all three of us, we did threesome with George.
It was amazing. It was amazing.
It was amazing. Well, we're in a hotel lobby right now that we kind of scored from that is amazing story as well. We're in a conference room that we scored from the lobby. But yes, so we remember you, and we're going to come pick you up.
Yes.
That's fantastic, bro. All right, so I'm trying to act cool with those news. So are you going to just meet us in downtown? What? This is Clarion Hotel?
Clarion Hotel,
Clarion Hotel. You'll find us there.
Elms. Clarion
All right,
Elms.
fantastic. Love ya. Bye. He has a funny story. He actually got offered $800,000 just a few days ago because he wants to create a dream, which is a result of the 100-day challenge. So he's meeting the investor now, and he's going to be held up until 9. We have time.
Nice.
Or he's going to be meeting him at 9, I think. He's actually taking a lot of liberties. We have to drive 2 hours to get to camp.
Oh yeah, but
But this is huge.
it is huge.
This is like
Really,
this is next level huge.
Yeah.
So we have an adventure ahead in any way we go.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's amazing to see the adventure unfold. Like I feel we're watching it happen, and here's the next stage, and here's the next stage. It's like a choose your own adventure kind of a story here.
It's like Harry Potter or Daniel
Yeah.
Radcliffe playing Harry Potter, and just everything going. You just see it as it happens.
Kung Fu Panda.
Oh my god! Yes.
What do you think are the let me ask you this one, and this question is to all three of you, so anyone can feel free to take it here. What do you think is the most important part about a relationship?
Okay, I think there's 3:
Okay.
sex, trust, and communication.
Okay, let's start with sex. Like, do you think in any sort of relationship that way, like, is that the first thing that draws us to another person? What do you think that is?
I think that is about like what's fear, right? If you're standing on a diving board and you're looking down, you have never jumped a 10-meter before, you're going to feel something that is uncomfortable, right?
Okay.
We call that fear, but is that fear, or is that like like the dent from the universe, or like a nudge that something is about to happen if you go through this, right?
Right.
If you feel, because the way I met Michelle in the festival, it was what people call love at first sight. Never seen it before. Actually, just briefly the day before, when my buddy was just showing her his penis out of the dare, because like, we can do that.
Right.
No, there's a lot of drinking, a lot of alcohol. That
Right,
was
right.
also a completely different reality. Oh, excuse me. So Michelle came up to me, ashes in her entire face. She's like, "Hi, who are you?" Right? Really out of it. I gotta admit, not the best first impression, but she's got to scurry away when my friend showed his penis. So I
Sure.
didn't see it anymore. The next day, I was sitting there in this campfire site. The sun was shining. People were doing yoga. The energy was just amazing. I had no, understanding of the concept yet, but I saw these two great silhouettes on the pier. I was like, damn, that was good. And then I just sat back down. And then all of a sudden, these girls come in and they sit with the bench. Turns out it was the silhouettes. But I was like, by that time, I had started to try to experience the art in everything, right? And the
Right.
human body, you gotta admit, it's like a piece of art. Sometimes it just
Sure.
cheers to that, right? That was a good piece of work.
Right.
And then she comes over and she looks me straight in the face. And now she does not have ashes in hers. So all of a sudden she was different. And something clicked. And after that, we just continued the conversation with my friends. She was over there. She was doing some crazy things, sneaking up on a dude in a bag, a bean bag, scared the living crap out of him. And I was like, she crazy. I like that. And then all of a sudden, our eyes met again, and we just smiled. And I felt Ehsalese, and I didn't know what it was, but I felt like, right? And she felt it too, because she came over and she sat down on the log behind me, because I was just leaning on it. And I just put my head in her lap, and she started to kind of cuddle me or just stroke. Our eyes met, and we said, hey. That was it. That was it. And after that, the physical connection was amazing. So to answer your question, I don't think that, for me, I just came over the word demisexual, where you don't feel sexually attracted until you are connected on a deeper energetic.
Right.
I had that with Michelle. So sex was one thing that we just aced out of the park. Freaking all stars. I would say that's spiritual sex, right? I've never really experienced really merging into one person. And that was when I started to really go into energy work. I think that's why Tantra is a thing.
Mm.
There's forces to be played with during that
Sure.
little thing that most people don't appreciate. And we found this thing in each other, which was so strong that it carried everything else for 6 years. There were jealousy. There was a lot of things that it created friction in the relationship. And I was not doing my best at home. Like, I was lazy. I was working from 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. trying to make the business work so that we can actually pay for the food that we have and all that stuff. So when I came in and I didn't have mental capacity to do the chores as well, or got, flagged for not caring about doing the chores or what, there was a lot of things. Most people can relate to that little back and forth. And I started she didn't want to see that we were two people who completed each other, that could go towards the same goal instead of fighting two different battles on each side and then complaining about the other one not doing so. After a while, we find out how to communicate, but not in the best way. Because I think that the energy that you have through sex, you can also have through communication. The energy that you get through communication and sex can also be had through trust. Just knowing the freedom of not owning a person and being 100% accountable and honest with yourself, knowing that happiness comes from within and you choose to be with the other soul that you found, right? Connecting on all different levels. So I think that if you feel really good energetically, you can connect on all the levels that resonate, and you're going to feel if you resonate. So I think that to answer the question, the most important thing for a relationship is resonance in a variable space, I guess, in a variable, because if you're too far away, you can never make it work. If you're too close, you're basically the same, and there's not going to be any fun in that. But if you're just enough away, you can build on each other, on the things that both have and lack, basically. And then you just move, but you have to be kind of similar and then find that joy together, which starts with resonance. But there's pain in that. You have to be able to kind of accept that you have to go on a journey.
a wise woman told me once that if you're thinking about a person and you don't know why you're thinking about that person,
Yeah, that was key.
it's not really that. It's not really you that's thinking of that person. It's that person who's thinking of you.
You're connected.
Wow, I never heard that before.
No.
That's fucking
Don't do
blows
that.
my mind. But yeah, I could totally see that.
Yeah, me and my friend. I had a friend from the U.S., Keith,
Right?
and he had my experience basically in the ayahuasca sphere. Right, he knew everything about ayahuasca. He was living in Iquitos. He had over 100 or 70 or 100 plus ayahuasca trips, really going into it. And we had these conversations that very quickly turned to very deep friendship because, as with what is relationships, right? It's connections, it's love. You can have that regardless of the gender, right? So we had this conversation that just connected us on a soul level. And we had those understanding of both parts of the equation, basically, me with psychedelics and psilocybin and him with ayahuasca. And we saw these similarities that made us see that there were more, like two ideas form three. And over time, we just felt each other. Keith had his own frequency. And I could feel that when I was supposed to contact him, if I went into Messenger, very often that chat bubble would already be spinning because we had just done the same thing. We took action on what we think. That is huge. Feel, don't think.
That's huge.
If you feel like you should do something, fucking do it. Yeah. Like me and Michelle broke up, but we have had sex after we broke up. We've kissed after we broke up because we are honoring the connection, the energy, not the label that people want to put on it. So when me and Keith got really close, I had this really weird picture and sensation of him whenever. So I could identify as this is the Keith frequency. All of a sudden, I felt like I had to talk to him, and we call each other, and he says that he's got a cancer that I can't even pronounce. All of a sudden, from nowhere, he got this. Keith Aronowitz, by the way, Boston 117 or 7. You're gonna find him on Instagram. He was a very big graffiti artist who deserves fucking respect for what he did. And I might be emotional on this one. Just saying. I'm going to do a pilgrimage down to the U.S. because they have made a honoring of him in graffiti on First Street, F Street, something. And I feel like what we had, I need to go down there to actually just take part in the spirit of Keith. Because in ayahuasca, spirits was the dominant thing. In psilocybin, there was frequencies. It was so fascinating. The spirit world and the universe, insane. But all of a sudden, like I knew he had cancer. And time went by and I was so fucking busy. I couldn't, I felt bad for not being able to do more. And then I figured I'm going to send him a message. So I did. And then his wife answers back saying that he has chemo in his brain. He can't really communicate right now. I will reach out when he's feeling better. A little more time went by, but not a lot. Right. So I reach out again because all of a sudden I feel Keith really hard. Like it was a kick in the stomach. And as I finally find the time to actually reach out 2 or 3 days later, I go into Facebook. The first thing I see is Keith. I see his picture just, right? And I was like, that's going to make it easy. Now I can just go into his profile and call him.
Yeah.
And that was like in honor of Keith Aronowitz, died this day or born this day and died this day. And then was a eulogy of his wife. And that hit me like a ton of bricks. I think that what I felt, because the date of his death is the date I felt that shit. It was his ascension. He went to the different level. And after that, I've actually had that feeling again. I've been feeling the Keith frequency, sensing what he would say in this situation or whatever, knowing that he is now where we try to fantasize towards. Like we try to explain the semantics of death through psychedelics, comas, near-death experiences, all these things that put you to the end of life. And then you have more to learn, right? We try to just really thinking ourselves through what would that be, the next chapter. And then if life is a game, you want to do everything that you can throughout this life with as much love as you can, facing the fears that you have been given, and then going through, when you come there, you're going to have a rich life where you were just fully valuable helping everyone around you. The ripple effect, right?
Right.
Although people have been known to die for that, Jesus and stuff. But then we meet again, I guess, or the energy can't die; it can just transmute.
Right.
And
That which was never born can never die.
Yeah, exactly. So if we just, because the whole video, the journey of the thought, basically goes into science of how we are nothing but a subatomic quantum fluctuation on the vacuum and a Planck scale. So like we're just little vibrations. It's a hard and a 20-minute long conversation, so we shouldn't do that right now. But then you are the universe, right? And just going with that frequency, seeing everything through that, I accepted that. I just, how did we get into frequencies?
I think we just began talking about relationship and in relation to,
so
and then
How do we get in the
Yeah.
same frequencies?
Yeah. Ooh,
Because
yeah.
how do we get in the same frequencies? Because we experience the same feeling. Because we're talking about our feelings, and we'll see they're almost alike. You know.
it's like a tuning fork, right? Like
So
once you
all
see
we-
someone on it, you just begin to gravitate towards it and you tune towards
Yes.
each other.
Yeah.
The same way a woman will tune other women into their menstrual cycle, right? Like, so too do we as all humans. Like, if that happens in this set of humans, then wouldn't the same principle happen throughout humanity and all humans if we're vibrating on a certain level?
Yeah, one would think that. But I think that more people needs to actually show who they are. Like three
Yes.
people meditating and doing crazy shit, and people are asking questions, right? And then just doing that more. And then the more
Maybe-
people raise
yeah.
more frequencies.
Of course.
Maybe you can't vibrate on the same frequency unless you're honest with yourself, right?
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the point.
Because when we
Yeah,
was
yeah.
bathing, we were standing there and we had the same frequency. The people came because you can feel the love. You know?
Yeah.
Getting pulled up. You're never getting
Yeah.
dragged down if you don't
Yeah.
focus on it. Yeah. You're doing what feels good, basically.
Right.
Quite recently, I've been like just fucking telling my truth and put it out there, like being me while I do it. And so many people commented on or like took contact with me because of my energy. It was like, oh, I just had to take contact because of it's energy, dude. And I believe that energy is the less that people seek, you know. So
Exactly.
It's
so that's
true.
so easy to explain because then those who know, they know.
They know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you think maybe like, first off, I'm sorry to hear about your friend Keith, but it brings up this point of a sort of contact, a sort of feeling or a sort of resonance, or we can go with frequency, which is probably the best way to describe it. It seems like when you're operating on like Ehsalese or you're operating on these higher levels, that maybe you can contact the people that are in a different place that have gone before you, right? Like, I think that it does become more familiar, that feeling. And it's sad that you have to feel it when someone passes, but maybe that's the beginning lesson for you to begin to feel it more. You know, it's interesting to think.
You know, and this is actually very interesting that you bring that up because my father lost his love, basically. He found a partner who resonated on all levels. She had a disease, and one day she got up from the kitchen bench and she died. Like, no closure, nothing. And that kind of gave us, that was after I started my journey and got into quantum physics and seeing energy like this. And after she passed, her parents and my dad had been kind of giving me things because me and her really resonated. We were thinking the same things. And I guess when people do certain things, they see that, oh, this person is like this person. She reminds me of him, or like vice versa. So I was receiving a lot of books from them because they knew that I like to read.
Right.
And I learned these things from some of the books that just changed my paradigm. And I was like, if her energy is like that, she can't die. Like that energy is somewhere.
Right.
And I started to accept the fact that she was not there. And then we had the funeral. And as I was thinking this, that thought sounds like a Disney movie, but a stream of light hit me in the face, and only me. I was like, fuck yeah.
There she
We're
is.
probably going to meet again, right? Because then I knew that even though she wasn't physically there, not materialistically there, she was there. I just had to tune into that. And then the journey from there, I feel like I've got so many books and things that just help me. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
There you
Everyone
go.
knows that book or should know that book, right?
Yeah.
My dad does, for the first one, he doesn't read English books. Secondly, he doesn't read books. Right? So when he was the one to give me that book, it completely changed everything in my life. I was like, wow, that was not him. I was like, where did you get this book? Lena. I was like, wow, right? Yeah, so it changed my paradigm, and I started to see death differently. And then my grandfather died, who had been a rock and the tribal chief, right? He was really an interesting person. I tried to make him write a book before he died, but he was a very like a man of his generation. He was a quiet guy who didn't think that you should talk too much. I think that everyone should have 100% death tax, lose everything when they die, and have to focus on the knowledge and the value they can give the other people to just build the knowledge and get ahead, right? So they don't have to get all the, like a lot of millionaires. They don't get things because they just got them. You actually have to earn them. Because that creates better people. And he was like that, almost, but very much like, he was stuck in the other energy. So when he died, people got his possessions. And that's it. He was speaking to himself, even though everyone tried to make him talk. Like someone in our family lineage is called Leonard Seppola. And Disney just made a movie about him, Togo. These things run in the family. These things, people do things and they don't fucking talk about it. The only reason I know is because other people found interest in what he was doing when he was handstanding on horses and shit. Then they started to write about it. And that's how we got to know it. But we have to share it. So sharing those stories, and back to death. Like when he died, I felt like everything was so fucking sterile. Like he was put in a box. We had to carry out that box, following a dude that had read everything he knows in a Bible. And he did not even know my granddad, right? He was talking from these parables and shit from Bible. And I felt like it was so fake. Because it's like you're putting all your knowledge in the book. And the only reason, I'm not bashing on religion. I think the frequency of belief is a fucking powerful thing. But I believe like if you put that book on the couch, I would rather believe in the couch and the house the couch stand in and the universe the house is situated. Instead of taking a glass of water from a river and just honoring that little piece of water, and that is my life now, that is my norm, my paradigm, my rules, all that stuff. Those are my commandments. I rather would look at the river that water came from, because that is not going to die in a still environment. New possibilities, new flow, right? And with that flow, my granddad discerned something different. That was the first time when I really took action on what I believed. So instead of putting on a rose, I had this rock with a Norse symbol on it called Vegisir, which is like a compass to show your way and honor his energy afterwards. And I put that on his coffin. People were like, huh. But that's my way. Death is not scary anymore because it's just a passing that you get to do. And then if you have done a lot of things that just prove that you are worthy of the life you've been given, I guess you go to the next level.
Yeah. It's that's an awesome story, man. It brings up so many questions in my mind. Like, I really love the idea of what I like what you said about the death tax, but it brings to me this question of like, it's almost like a plague. Like we have come to respect the monetary value and money itself over the experience. The real richness that your grandfather gave was his experience, but people would rather trade in the money. They'd rather trade in this idol instead of the real juice, instead of the real history, the experience that can make them rich. Instead, they just want the rich. Like, and you, in a way, you make yourself poor that way. Like, why do you think we do that? Like, what's going on there?
That is, again, back to the whole physical thing of the energy, heavy energy versus flowy energy. They just know that heavy energy because money is rough. I'm not going to say names, actually. Some families in the world are rich. And they have been so for a long time. And that just inherits down the line. And if you have values that are shit, then you're going to teach that to your kids and they're going to see how you operate in the world. And then if that is based on that materialistic, just money to me kind of way, instant gratification or dominance, it's going to be hard to see the world differently. If you work towards it, if they were only to say that this is what you need to do, this is what you need to do, then you take 10 years and comprise that into 1 month. And you have that foundation to continue to learn on. And that just goes down into generations. Can you imagine how that would look like in 20 years? When there are not these huge conglomerates just operating on dominating, but everyone wants to share to bring us up. I think that would be a pretty good deal.
Yeah. I'm hopeful we can get there. And I think we can. I think maybe this is a movement starting. It reminds me though of like families. Like I just interviewed Joseph Sassoon, who wrote a book called The Sassoons. And the Sassoons are like the Rothschilds of the East. Like they were a banking family from the Middle East. And then they came up being sort of the people that could use usury, and they were allowed to do this. And then they moved into commodities, and then they moved into the opium trade. And the story is fascinating because it's told by Joseph Sassoon, who wasn't part of like the ruling Sassoon family. He was part of the family that got left behind in the Middle East when the richest father and the son moved to Europe and started this incredible empire that they had going. But he tells the story from like the rise and the fall, and you get to see so much bickering and so much infighting, and like they were basically like drug dealers. Like they were just, they were controlling all this opium. And he talks about what it did to the individuals in the family. And the reason I'm bringing it up is like they completely lost. Like the first guy that started it was this incredible individual that had insight and authority and more than that, understanding of what life is and experience. And as they moved up in this empire, some of it got passed on, but it slowly became squeezed out of the family until there was nothing left but just bickering and a hollow shell of what, the money really does to people. Like the money goes in and it steals everything from you. And then you put it in this idol, and then it gets just taken away from you. In a way, it's a thief. But yeah, I think we can move on.
Instead of focusing on value, we were focusing on the symbol of success that we all agreed upon. It's a fucking paper note.
Yeah.
Thing, yeah. But you can feel experience. You can feel value. So if you would just continue to share that experience, because I don't guess you really feel a lot to carry anything forward when you buy something that is going to cost you more energy or money, like an iPhone. I don't feel like this is an iPhone 12 and now I'm going to save the world, right? It's like it's sucking your energy. But if you go in and you just try to create energy and do the things that feels right, it's a very backwards thing to think, because if you give value, the money is going to follow, and then the money is just going to enforce who you already are. Evil money becomes evil because the person who is doing it just does not know any other reality. I know how it was to be on that spectrum.
Yeah.
And then vice versa. A good person would do something to create a better thing, like we created it today.
Yeah. It's fascinating. Let's shift gears for a minute. Like, it's super interesting to get to hear different perspectives from different people on different parts of the planet. And you guys being where you are located geographically, let me first off share with you what I see kind of going on from my little bubble here in Hawaii on a geopolitical scale. It seems to me, and this is just my opinion, I'm not sure that this is anybody else's, and I don't speak for anybody else, but it seems to me on a geopolitical level, like we have seen like NATO, of which I don't even understand why my country's in NATO. Like, we have no business being over there. I'm saddened that the money that comes from my taxes goes to support some things that I don't get any benefit from. And I think a lot of Americans feel that way. But I see this sort of warlord type mentality encroaching on the border of Russia. I see Russia protecting itself. It's interesting to me to see in America, we're taught like all these horrible things, like the Nazis are bad and this and that. And World War II is sort of a conundrum over here. But in the media, it's all Germans are bad. Like they painted Germany with such a broad brush when kids are young. And so now all of a sudden, it blows my mind to see so many people in Twitter in America talking about, hey, we're going to support the Ukraine, even though Ukraine has like these Nazi flags on there. So it's interesting for me to see people in my country who are like, hey, we don't like the Nazis, but then they support the Ukrainian troops that are carrying Nazis. Like you said, it's a pretty big dichotomy there. Mm-hmm. But in my world, like I don't understand, except for the only thing I can understand is it's a battle of resources. It's a battle of creating supply chains for the next 100 years. And it's not country versus country. It's multinational corporations fighting other government organizations in order to secure the resources and fuck the people of the world. I wish that we as a people of the world could rise up and demand more of those people that quote unquote rule us, force them to do what the right thing is to do. That's kind of the way I'm looking at this geopolitical strategy. Do you guys see it similar? Do you guys have a different view, or how do you guys see it?
A slightly different view on the history part, but that is
okay. Please,
that's not the view.
It's almost like the Bitcoin, it's almost taking over the banks. The banks are pissing in their pants,
because we are starting to take over because the evil is weak, you know.
Yes.
They're trying to kill us all these years.
Try to bury us, but
Try
they
to
forgot
bury
our
us, you know.
genes.
Try to bury our ideas. If we can't go to if you can't go through the school system, we're stupid, you know.
Yeah.
But that system will fuck you up.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It's meant to disable you.
Oh yeah.
So a lot of things is going to happen. I think we are in the start of World War III because the people want love now. They don't want this hate stuff. So I think the people is going to go through the system one day because we don't want this anymore.
In World War
I
II, we
agree.
had the same thing. Spies that worked for the common good, that went in to sabotage the enemy. We are doing the exact same thing. We're trying to shed awareness on things that has been propagandized and misunderstood for so long that it's just spitting people in the face. And
Yeah.
that's why I just want to say that I'm not a fan of killing myself, and I would never do that.
No way.
That's so awesome, dude. I agree. I see on another level, I often think to myself, maybe this is what freedom looks like. Maybe this is people shitting their pants. Maybe COVID is this idea for people to try to throw a wrench in everything.
Feels like.
Right? Like it seems like I read a really good book. Do I have it right here? It's right here. It's called When Google Met WikiLeaks. And in this book, Eric Schmidt goes to the where they were holding Julian Assange in the embassy prior to him being taken away in imprisoned. And in that meeting, you know, Eric Schmidt and a few people are talking to Julian Assange about their kind of plans of like what Google is really doing. And Julian Assange, you know, it's one of my favorite quotes in the book. They're talking about how they have like Google, big tech, and governments and government organizations and multinational corporates have this ability to control the narrative, and they're going to do so through censorship. And Julian Assange smiles at him and he goes, you know, that's the weakest thing I've ever heard in my life. The fact that you censor people just shows how weak you are. That means words could take down your entire industry.
Yeah.
It's such a beautiful line. Like censorship is it's like the last gasp of poor leaders desperately trying to cover up some things that they know they're guilty for. About what do you think are some solutions that we could all do, that we could move forward to? If I was to reach across right now and slap you on the back, like what could we begin doing together to streamline our views and begin moving forward to take care of these people, like some of the people in the banks and our governments and these people that are trying to squash us? What do you think we could do?
We're doing it right now.
Yeah.
We're doing it right now.
Yeah. Like just this is going to start a snowball effect that's going to create. We have plans of creating a center here in Norway called Valhalla. It's just because we like Vikings, right? It's going to be a personal development thing where people can come up and learn how to take responsibility of their own fucking life, start to see things differently. And
yes,
as we do that, it's just going to grow. And the plan is so huge that it cannot fail, right? Because when people hear it, they get inspired. So now, if you want to sponsor us with a few $1 million, that's cool. If you don't, that's cool. If you want to go and check us out, Seppola.com. Help us create this. This is happening right now. Like we're on our way tomorrow to do the thing that we are going to change the reality with. Another guy is currently having a meeting with an investor for $800,000. And we are basically just talking about the things that we are doing. And also, one of my clients is going to be the happiness doctor in Dubai. On a national scale, that is, when you think about the things that has happened, I get mind blown. It's just like, it's better to just be humble and just, this is what's happening right now, accept it.
And you know, I've had like a similar dream before I met Tor. Like I wanted to open like some sort of treatment center with the use of plant medicine. Then I met him and we shared our dreams and we're like, what the fuck? This is the same dream.
Yeah. It can get bigger. And then
me too. I had a dream in 2018 when I was in the psychosis.
Nice.
When I was a child, I always told my mom that I want to help people, but I don't know how. But in the experience I had, I was visualizing a camp place with a big house in the middle and 4 houses around with different things, different healings, different kind of healings. natural healings of people.
Yoga,
meditation, ice bath, medicine, nature, and I met him, and I met him. We all have the same dream.
Yeah.
We're building it.
And would we be here without Liberty Caps?
It's crazy.
That is so true. It never happened without this plant that doesn't know that it's legal.
I have drawings at my home. I have books. I draw everything that I experience in my experience.
That's powerful.
Everything.
That is.
I wrote it down, and I have videos when I was high up, and so I will see what I will make out of it.
That's the 100
So,
challenge.
100 challenge. Yeah.
Yeah. How do I get my audience to look at your videos? Like, can you guys send me the links to each one of all your videos so that I can send people to them and they can kind of see what you're doing?
I've been telling them that we need. Right now, we have my channel is filled with information. We have just started the journey, and I am actually challenging them to put it public. So
Nice.
right now, youtube.com/Tor Seppola, just my name.
Okay.
You'll find a lot of shit in there.
And I can feel that's a big fear for me because I've been in this situation that everyone thinks I'm crazy, you know. So I'm going back to be myself because my scenes of life that the person that is being truly themselves are being looked at as crazy people, you know,
Which is
special
crazy.
people, you know,
Crazy one.
because
Yeah.
they are themselves.
Yeah.
So if that's the new thing to be crazy, so I'm crazy.
I'm good with that.
Yeah.
That was yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If,
It is,
If
like-
going left is wrong, then I don't want to be right.
That's super funny. Yeah, and something to think about too, Marius, is that for all of you, for Tian, for Marius, for Tor, for me, like when we give ourselves the freedom to be who we are, regardless of what people think about us, we're crazy, we're dumb, we're stupid, we're foolish, whatever label they want to put on us. Like when we allow ourselves to be here doing this right now, like we are also giving younger versions of us the freedom to become who they are. Maybe because of what you're going through, some younger Marius or some younger Tian won't have to go through those troubles because you guys have blazed the way. You've set up the trail, and now they can look at it, right? Like
That's why some have to carry the bag, so we can give the tools to others. So
Stand on the shoulders of those who came before you.
Yeah. Think about how lucky we are to be in a position that maybe our great grandfathers are. We now have an opportunity to be the great men that came before us in our families. That's an honor. And we're doing it. We've been called. All of us have been called to do this.
Exactly.
Right? And
You feel called to do it. That is
yes.
I feel was.
Excellence,
Oh
see?
my god!
Yeah. Imagine, for so long we've used that term. Yeah,
Just
dude.
gonna have some water.
Yeah. It seems like for so long we've used that term standing on the shoulders of giants, but we need new giants, right? It's our turn. It's our turn, right?
Exactly.
So, man, I gotta tell you guys, I love you guys, man. I love talking to you. I got a hard break coming up here in like about 3 minutes, but I could probably continue carrying on a conversation for another 2 hours with you guys. So
you could probably go on for 3 days. That's
I know. The only way to solve this is for me to come to Norway and sit down with you guys at the Valhalla Center and try to solve some problems. Maybe.
Let's make this happen. We are strong together. We're strongest together.
Yeah. We are.
We're gonna need 400 people to stand on the beach and just go with the energy.
Yeah. I'm ready.
You're gonna need some powerful shit. And then Joe Rogan freaked out when he saw this just crowd of Vikings going in a football match. Think about this. Naked in the winter. 400 people.
400 people. Oh my god.
Joe Rogan, we're coming for you.
Right?
We're coming for it, boy. Coming.
I love it. So I'm going to sign off, but hang on here 1 second because I want to talk to you real briefly after I shut it down. Before I go, where can people find you? You've mentioned your YouTube channel. Let's mention it again. And is there any other spots people can find you? Do you have anything coming up? And where? What are you excited about?
We have something huge coming up, but it is also we're building the plane in the air here. We don't know what we're doing. We're learning as much as we're teaching, right? But we have challenge.torseppola.com, which is the 100-day challenge. And we're still trying to make sure that we can create this super bond in the tribe, which is that's going to be a challenge as we grow, but we're going to figure that out. So if people feel like we have something to give them, trust us, go to challenge.torseppola.com, sign up for the challenge. You're going to be given all the resources. We're going to create something amazing together. And that's it. And if you don't have money, because this is the thing, we talked about this. There are levels to this, and it's going to be always free for everyone who needs to know on the first level, on the entry level, right? So go to the legacyforge.com. That is just the Discord server. That's where the tribe is. That's where we're trying to just manage everything, keep things, have the videos of the tribe just sharing. That's it. Challenge.torseppola.com and the Legacy Forge. And there you will also find more information about these magnificent people and their contact information.
Man, such a great story, man. I had such a great time today. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning into the True Life podcast. Thank you, Tor, Marius, Tian. And we'll talk again soon. Everyone go check out the websites. And thank you to my guests for being here, for participating. And we'll see you guys next time. Aloha.